The following podcast contains spoilers for Burning. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody? It is Glenjamin Button here with your host, Glenjamin Button, and also your host, Glenjamin Button, and also your host, Miguel Magusto. Welcome to KFR, everybody.
I was worried for a second. Did you replace me with two of your clones?
Now there's three of me here. How you doing, boys?
What?
I was talking to myself.
Oh. Are you okay, Glenn?
No. I'm fantastic. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. So yeah, I guess we're
So stupid.
that really threw me off. So I guess we'll just talk about movies that we saw last week.
All
Glenn,
right.
did you see anything last week?
No, actually. Sadly enough, I finished The Witcher, which is the highlight of my last week. I was really happy about that. Finished Mandalorian, which released on Friday, and that was fun.
Yeah.
Which, in fact, leads up to what we're going to talk about next. But how about you, Mike? Let's talk about you.
I saw things.
I don't believe you in the slightest.
Well, I did.
No.
I did.
Not a chance.
I saw Uncut Gems. I betrayed you. I apologize for that. Safdie Brothers, Adam Sandler. Stuff like that. It was really good. I really want to see it with you at some point so we can discuss it some more. Mm-hmm. Then I also saw A Hidden Life, Terrence Malick's most recent film. I'm not a huge fan of Terrence Malick. I feel like he wanders too much, even though that's his whole thing. It's just not my style. Not coherent enough.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed this more than I've enjoyed any of his other stuff that I've seen, at least. So,
that's good, at least.
Yeah, there's that. Then I saw Shadow, which was directed by Yimou Zhang, who did Hero, House of Flying Daggers, and the Great Wall. But we don't talk about that one. But Shadow was really
Is
cool.
that the Matt Damon one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What are we talking about? Moving on.
But Shadow was a really cool, another cool ancient war movie from China, very stylized and cool. And then the last thing I saw was Patty Cakes, which is a film about two aspiring rappers. Now, for someone who doesn't like hip-hop, which is me, the plot reads that these two people that want to become rappers kidnap a goth kid who makes like his own one-man band metal music, force him to change that music to suit their needs, and then try to become rappers. But to people who like hip-hop, it's like, oh, they're saving this goth kid. I could tell that that's what they were going for. And in a way it does do that. Like he goes willingly at some point, but it's fine. It is what it is. But it was fine. It was a good movie. Just as a metal fan, I was just like, people actually like metal, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to make it seem like no one likes metal.
Interesting.
But, yeah, it was fine. Other than that, it was a good movie. But that was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I saw last week, other than Burning. But we'll get into that later. We got some news to talk about, Glenn. I see that you got two things you want to talk about.
A little bit of news. I kind of did just speak about them, Mandalorian and The Witcher. So Mandalorian is already coming back with a second season next fall, which is way sooner than I could have expected it to come back. Not saying that it shouldn't, but that last episode was actually really good. Taika Waititi directed it, so it should be really good.
And it's very apparent in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, that it was
Jason
all
Sudeikis
him.
and Adam Pally as the stormtroopers.
There's actually people super upset with Jason Sudeikis.
Why?
Because he punched Baby Yoda.
First of all, he is a big enough star where he probably didn't wear the suit and probably just did the voice.
Yeah.
Second of all, Baby Yoda's not real.
It's fiction.
It's fiction.
Literally fiction.
Be upset with his character. Don't be upset with Jason Sudeikis.
But that's not the news. That's it's beyond stupid, but it's not the news.
Yeah.
Mandalorian's coming back with a second season. I'm excited for it. I really hope they explore more and don't do side missions the next season.
Yeah, I feel like you could legitimately cut 4 episodes out of this season.
Yeah.
Not miss a single thing.
Yeah. There's
as much as I like Bill Burr, his episode is not needed at all. As much as I like Amy Sedaris, her episode's not needed at all. As much as I like Eugene Cordero, his episode is not needed at all.
Yeah,
and that's the running theme.
There's in the gaming industry, like there's a lot of hype right now that movies and TV shows are trying to take aspects of games.
Don't do the side missions though.
But yeah, I mean the side missions isn't really the way to go.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're on the right track. I mean the episodes were good for the most part.
Yeah,
but they weren't
none
needed
of them were bad,
for the most part.
Yeah, none of them were bad, but they definitely were not needed.
So I'm hoping that the second season, now that we're getting it really soon in fall, well, not really soon, but you know what I'm saying. Hopefully it just sticks to a story instead of like side things, because this isn't a show if you're handing us somebody new in this new cast of people instead of like the Skywalkers. Like, just don't give us everybody side missioned.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We don't need that.
Like, if you really want to explore that aspect of the world, make it part of like the following season, but don't start a plot and then abandon that plot for 3 or 4 episodes.
I mean, it'll be interesting if they make the characters from the filler episodes that didn't need to be filler episodes more apparent in the second season.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I would like to see more of like Bill Burr and God, what's his name? The guy who plays Mr. Krabs. He played the devil guy. But I would like to see more of their.
Now I'm having a brain fart.
Their characters. Clancy Brown.
Brown.
I would like to see more of their characters, but in a way that makes sense for the plot of the story.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's a reason I don't like a lot of TV shows, is because they don't focus on the plot as much as they should. So TV shows have like D plots, E plots, F plots, J plots, Z plots, stuff like that, and just it becomes too much, if you ask me.
It does become a little too much.
So I like that's why I like movies more. They're consistent, they're coherent, they're just one line. They don't go off on all these different strings, which if that's your thing, fine. That's not my thing. So one of my friends actually just said I should watch Doctor Who, and it's just too much. There's too much. I don't. It's not finite enough. Like, I like miniseries because they're finite. Chernobyl was great because it was finite. I knew there'd be an ending because it's not fictional.
Yeah, that's like, and here comes my anime nerd coming out. That's like a friend. If I'm in Dragon Ball Z and a friend wants to like recommend Naruto, I'm like, or One Piece. They're like 1,000 or 1,500 episodes by now. There's not ridiculous. A chance that I'm ever going to do that. Yeah,
like, as I'm sure The Wire is great. I'm never going to watch it. I'm sure Sopranos is great. I'm never going to watch it. That like
Mad Men was great. I'm glad I jumped into that. Yeah, but that wasn't terribly I'm never gonna watch the longest series again.
I'm never gonna watch Mad Men. I just have too many things that I want to watch to let a TV show slow me down.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons of Mad Men are like the only thing that really matter to me.
It was one thing when I was a student and had a lot of free time. But now that like I'm an adult and don't have a lot of free time, I'm probably never going to watch these shows. Stop recommending them to me.
Just get away from me.
Yeah,
I don't want to see them.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's the Mandalorian for me. For the first news. The second one, did you even start this one yet? The Witcher?
I have no interest to, if I'm honest.
Okay, that's fine.
I might at some point. If Caitlin, my wife, watched it and the show
you guys watched Game of Thrones, right?
I didn't. I watched a season and a half and couldn't get into it.
Okay. I was going to say, because this, already the first season for me, totally my opinion, is already better than the whole culmination of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Like, I don't care about that kind of world. I don't care about fantasy. Like, if you ask me, it's all trying to be Lord of the Rings and none of it's as good as Lord of the Rings.
What the fuck happened to my screens.
So
Hello?
I thought you were saying that about what I just said.
No. I mean, well, it's your opinion. I'm not going to bash you for it.
But yeah, it's all trying to be Lord of the Rings. Is not as good as Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So I don't want to waste my time with it. Not that it is a waste of time, but it's a waste of time.
So
Waste of my time.
I was having trouble finding the article again, but I word of mouth heard that they're good for 2 more seasons. I just finished
I'm
the first one.
also not as big of a fan of Henry Cavill as you are.
Yeah, I love the guy. He's great.
He's fine. I haven't seen anything that he's been in other than Mission Impossible Fallout, where I was actually really compelled by his character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he hasn't impressed me too much yet.
Well, if for some God-given reason you start watching The Witcher, he is a really good interpretation of Geralt of Rivia from the books. I haven't read the books, but that's what I'm hearing. And I really want to read the books now because the first season for me was really good, and I'm glad.
How do people have all this time? Like, I don't have all this time to watch.
Where you have time for movies, people have time for anything else in the world.
I don't get it. Why would you want to spend your time doing anything else other than watching movies?
I mean, sometimes somehow I'm balancing games and movies in my life, so I don't know.
Do you have a social life anymore?
A what?
I don't have a social life either, so I'm not judging you.
But anyway, The Witcher is, from what I'm hearing, greenlit for 2 more seasons, and I hear they're having plans for 7 seasons. I don't know if I want that many, but there are some books that they're taking really well or good care of from the source material to the show. So fingers crossed.
Sounds like how Game of Thrones started.
Yeah, hopefully it stays on its stride, but I'm pretty sure the books are finished, so that's a plus. That's all of my news. My nose. You see it?
My news isn't really news, other than
more of just talking about it.
Cats came out and is being completely obliterated by critics and audience alike. Mm-hmm. And all I wanted to say was I didn't have any interest in seeing the movie until I heard how bad shit insane it is. Mm-hmm. Apparently, like, Rebel Wilson's character eats cockroaches.
And that's blowing up right now.
But the cockroaches have human faces.
Yep.
She also takes off her skin to reveal another skin that happens to be wearing, like, a pink jumpsuit or whatever. And, like, I don't even know what to make of this movie, but it seems like one that is going to eventually be talked about on a podcast called How Did This Get Made?
What's really great is I was helping the ushers the last on Thursday and Friday, or Thursday and Wednesday, because Christmas and the day after, and we went to go clean up the theaters for Cats, and like we walked in there and they were already like cleaned because no one was in there.
Yeah, it just seems so ridiculous. Like, I mean, it looked ridiculous beforehand, but now that like even fans of the movie are talking about how ridiculous it is, or like people who like it ironically, and people who don't like it don't I'm here for it. I'm here for how stupid it looks, and I'm looking forward to that. So I might go see it at some point. We'll see. If you don't want to see Uncut Gems tomorrow, I might go torture myself by seeing that.
I was about to say I'm not gonna join you for Cats.
That's fine.
I don't like to waste my time because I'm already too banged up. We were just talking about how
TV shows are a waste of my time, and then I want to watch Cats.
Here we are.
But I want to see Cats just to see how bad it is. That's all. Like, I don't think it's gonna be a good movie.
Yeah, don't expect anything from it.
So since we're talking about cats, let's jump into our...
Talking about dogs now? From 2003?
No, we should talk about Burning because it has nothing to do. I mean, there's a cat in it.
There is a cat.
But we'll talk about Burning.
Burning. All right. This is my beautiful pick of the week. So, Burning was my choice of the week, and it is made in 2018, directed by Chang Dong Lee. And here we go. I promise you, I am 100% sorry. I'm going to butcher some names. If I do, at least. Directed by Chang Dong Lee, Jong-seo bumps into a girl who used to live in the same neighborhood, who asks him to look after her cat while she's on a trip to Africa. When back, she introduces Ben, a mysterious guy she met there, who confesses his secret hobby. Which, now that I watched the movie, it's kind of like a butchered synopsis in a way.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying not to give too much of the plot away.
Yeah.
Honestly, the plot was the reason I didn't want to see this before, just because it made it seem more like a romantic movie, but it's not at all.
It's not. But it stars In Yu, Stephen Yeun from The Walking Dead, and Jong-seo. Again, I'm sorry if I butchered those names, but here we are. So yeah, where do we even begin on this movie?
We should begin with the beginning. No, I have no idea.
Or the end.
The thing I like most about this film was that it had the balls to be as left up to interpretation as it is in the end. Like, I don't want to say it doesn't wrap up anything, because that would be to imply that nothing happens in the movie.
Yeah.
But it leaves a lot up to interpretation, which I eventually in this podcast I want to talk to you, see what you think happens.
Absolutely.
It really outshined. Like I think we talked about. I briefly kind of hinted at in our best of the decade podcast that was released yesterday that Burning actually made it into my top 10 of 2018. I don't know if I doubt it's the same for you. But I loved this movie.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this movie. I'm not shitting on it at all. I know it might seem like it because I'm kind of like hesitating, but I really enjoyed this movie, and I think the ending of it is what kind of threw me off because it left so much to interpretation.
Yeah.
And I was
definitely forces you to think. Like
my brain, I was watching this at 5 a.m. Oh no.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
It was a huge personal problem. But no, I was really enjoying it. I loved everybody in it. There was some scenes that lasted way too long for me that I didn't feel comfortable with, like a good 3 or 4 masturbation scenes. But here we are.
You didn't love those?
Dude, I fucking loved them. But
no,
were they too long?
I could get
Absolutely.
That. I think those were to show just how lonely Jong-seo is.
Yeah.
And B, to kind of show that the thing I like about this is all three of the main characters are not without guilt in the situation at all. Like, there's no one right person within the entire film. And I love that because it kind of makes it like you keep going back and forth between, I'm rooting for, when you think it's just going to be like a love triangle. You're, I'm rooting for Jong-soo. Oh, I mean, Ben seems okay. I mean, he seems kind of like sociopathic, but he seems okay other than the slight sociopathic tendencies.
Yeah, he's like a super charming dude.
Yeah, and
like
then you're like, oh, hi, me, you're better than all of them. You don't deserve to have to settle for either of them.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, it makes you go back and forth between all three of them. And it's just, I've always liked Stephen Yeun. In The Walking Dead, he's great. But in this, he was captivating in this. Like he stole pretty much every single scene he was in. He
really did. Handsome devil. Him and his dominant genetic code or whatever. I don't even remember what he said.
I have superior DNA is what he said.
Superior DNA. What the hell did I say?
Dominant genetic code. But yeah, he like his looks alone, his character just you are right there.
Yeah.
His character just demands your attention throughout the entire thing, just in his calm attitude and demeanor, and you can tell he's comfortable in every single scene he's in. Whereas both Haimi and Jong-soo are kind of, you can tell that they're not exactly comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
And that is probably one of the best parts of this movie, is just the dynamic between all three of them.
Yeah, this movie gives you this huge tug of war of like who you're actually like rooting for. For me, obviously you're you're rooting for Jung-Yu. Oh my God, Jong-soo. I almost said Jung-Yu. Jong-soo, you're obviously rooting for him. He's the main character. He's a little bit slow at times, but
yeah.
Obviously he's like falling for this chick, and then she goes to Africa, and then she sees this handsome Gatsby character, who is Steven Yeun, and then she's fell for him, and now he's trying to like get with her, but Steven Yeun. So like, and then you see how cool Steven Yeun is, and you're like, well, shit, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Hai Mi is just so cool too. She's so free spirited, and you're absolutely right. You're just stuck between these three characters, and it's very difficult to say the least.
You mentioned Gatsby. I really like the connections between this and The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
I personally dislike The Great Gatsby. I think every character in that is dislikable.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the point. I get that, but for me to care about characters, I have to like the characters. In this, all of the characters, while guilty in some sense, are all really likable in some way. They all have elements of them, of themselves, where like you said, Hai Mi is free spirited. Ben is confident, and then Jong-soo, he probably shows the least worth for your respect. Not to say you should disrespect him, but you rooting for him more comes from pity than anything.
Exactly.
And that's not to say he's not a good character. He's a really good and compelling character, but he's going through shit where he's more or less homeless. He's staying at his childhood home
because his dad's going to court for shit that he's doing at work.
Yeah, so he's got all these things. And you just kind of, for lack of a better word, pity him, and just
it's a pity respect that you have for him, and that you're hoping for him this whole time.
Yeah, like you can tell there's enough there. Like, he's a smart guy. He's a great writer. That's brought up multiple times. He's just kind of lost to himself in a way.
Yeah.
And then this character of Ben, which he has everything that Jong-soo doesn't. He kind of just makes you kind of jealous for Jong-soo, that he's not as successful as Ben's character, Steven Yeun's character, and
you can't really hate Ben, because he's so stupid charming.
He doesn't give you a reason to hate him other than the fact that
he says mysterious.
That he's mysterious, and he states that he doesn't really feel emotions. Like, he feels what he thinks is sadness, but hasn't.
He gives off the characteristics of what you would assume would be like a serial killer or something.
Serial killer, sociopath, but that also creates the mystery within the film. Like we said, we're going to talk about spoilers here, so if you haven't seen Burning and don't want it spoiled for you, stop now.
Bada bing is the time.
Bada bing is the time. So that kind of, with this being vague in how it ends and leaving it up for interpretation, do you think Ben's character killed Hai Mi?
No.
No?
I think, and so, here. So I don't think Ben did anything. I think that he didn't give off any emotions because he's never felt sadness really his whole life.
He's never had a reason to be sad, really.
So he dated this chick for like a month, so why would he be sad? And if she doesn't exist anymore, or just stop talking to him, why not just move on? So that's what he did. And it looks sketchy from Jong-soo's point of view, because he just moved on. She disappeared. And so obviously what he does to Ben after that is, to me, unwarranted. So it just makes
absolutely.
Jong-soo,
either way, it's unwarranted.
Yeah.
It's illegal no matter how you look at it. It's
than
either
usual. Yes.
Yeah. It's murder regardless of whether or not Steven Yeun's character is also a murderer. So
yeah. So I think that, and here is the the key to why I'm thinking this is because when she went to Africa, she had this huge kind of like speech. She was like dancing she was doing like this African dance at a part, like a dinner party with Ben's friends. And like no, wait, it was when she came back from Africa, it was Ben, Jaime and Jong-seo at dinner having some food. And like she was talking about how, and this is where the thing comes in with Ben not having any feelings, because she's bawling her eyes out saying that she wanted to just disappear with the sunset or whatever, like just die with it. So she was obviously having some suicidal thoughts. So I feel like she capitalized on that. Yeah. Obviously, I don't give any signs that she did do that, other than just her moving all of her shit out of her room or having it cleaned. And it makes it... They make it really hard for you to pick a certain point of view on how this happened. Yeah. I personally think Ben didn't do anything. I think Jaime might have killed herself, and I think Jong-soo is just being way too attached to this woman.
Yeah, I mean, either way, he's way too attached to her. Yeah. I mean, they had sex once, and then he kind of just became obsessed with her.
I mean, I'd fall for her. She's fun as shit. Yeah. But he got way too attached way too quickly, and it made for a good story.
Absolutely. I honestly, just because I know how South Korean movies usually go, I thought for a while that Ben did kill her. And then I wasn't convinced really, but that's kind of what I was thinking throughout the last half of the third act. And then they start showing Ben in his life, and I'm like, oh, they're going to reveal how he did it. And then he goes, he's sitting on his car, and then Jong-soo arrives. And then he says, oh, I thought you said you were bringing Jaime. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, he didn't do it. There's no reason he would have met them if Jong-soo told him that he was coming with Jaime. So as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, he's completely innocent. And it just looks fishy. But yeah, I don't know if Jaime killed herself, but I do think she ran off and then
disappeared from life.
I think she probably like ran away, and then the one thing that gets me is that phone call from Jaime to Jong-soo where like she doesn't speak and you just hear like the phone fall and then footsteps running away and then running to the phone and then hanging up. Like, I don't know what to make of that, and I love that I don't know what to make of that. Like, it really puts you in Jong-soo's head. Where you're just like, oh, something bad happened to her, and all signs point to Ben. Yeah, and it's just a fantastic mystery, kind of a noir of the 50s, where it's like you don't know what's going on, and you love that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you don't know how to make heads or tails of the whole thing. Yeah, and neither character, their traits or evidence really gives you enough evidence to come up with a conclusion of it. Absolutely. And it sucks and it's fantastic at the same time.
It really does. But it's really hard to talk about this movie just because of how open-ended and up for discussion it is. But I absolutely loved it. I think it's one of the best movies of the year that it came out. I think all of the actors in it are fantastic. Yu I-ing, Stephen Yeun, Jong-seo. I don't know why I put myself in that position to have to pronounce those, but they're all great actors. I look forward to their other works and Lee Chang Dong's other films.
From what I hear, Jung-soo-jun is in a movie with Kate Winslet here soon.
Is it the one that was filming around here?
I think that's just an HBO special. I think she's actually in a film with her. It was a quick read. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So there it is. So I know she might be coming out with something here soon.
Yeah, Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon.
Yeah, Stephen Yeun, he's going to be doing stuff. He was in The Walking Dead. He's going to definitely be doing stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was in Sorry to Bother You, which is another great movie. But I love Stephen Young. I think he's got a great career, and everyone
he's a terrific singer. If you've ever heard him sing before,
I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Hey, got anything else to say about this?
That's really about it.
All right, so that does it for our review of Burning. If you don't know what to make heads or tails of it, neither do we.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened. But that brings us to the judgment. It has to be by unanimous decision that this goes on the KFR shelf and becomes a shelf boy. Do we do who picked it first? I forget.
I think we do who picked it first.
Okay, so you picked it first. So, Glenn, does this make it onto the KFR shelf?
There's so much mystery involved, and the open-endingness really just kills you. But at the same time, at 5 a.m, you're like, fuck it. It's so good. It's going to make a shelf. It's going to make a shelf boy.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, the mystery makes it for me. Like,
it really does. If it sealed the deal, it would definitely not have been as good of a movie.
Yeah, I mean, you said that you didn't have much to say about it, and then you probably said more than I did.
Yeah, I didn't expect to, but
I pulled it out.
I think you did, because when you asked how I thought it ended. And that's what was really bothering me the most.
Yeah, I mean, one of my friends asked me how I thought it ended, and that's when I kind of figured that that's the best way to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the mystery is the best part about it. The fact that it leaves it so... Movies that leave it up for discussion afterwards are always better than, movies that are exactly what they are at face value.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say yes, this is a shelf boy as well. So...
There we go.
We got 2 for 2 in the comebacks we got Burning makes it onto the shelf along with Prospect, which we had last week as well, and the others, which we both
all the others, which we're not naming now. But
no, we're not. But yeah, Burning is a shelf boy.
Oh yeah,
that brings us that brings us to plugs.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn, what is your plug?
Since it is my week, I get the first plug. Mm-hmm. So. I think we all know, for the most part, bad lip reading on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes. They just came out with a music video for a scene during The Last Jedi where Yoda and Luke are about to burn... spoilers. Are about to burn the Jedi books.
The sacred texts.
The sacred texts. And the music video is called My Stick. And it is the funniest thing. I listened when it came out. It had only been out for 4 hours, if that, and it was already at 1.5 million or 1.5 million views already. Mm-hmm. It's the funniest thing I've ever listened to this year, I think.
That's good.
So I would recommend watching that, and obviously all their other stuff. But bad lip reading of The Last Jedi, My Stick music video.
My Stick.
Hilarious.
My plug for this week is an entire channel. I've been watching a lot of British TV shows lately, British reality and
Did somebody
panel
say
shows.
TV shows?
Yeah.
Disgusting. We hate those here.
They're not plot-driven shows. They're game shows with comedians on them.
Yeah.
Is what I've been watching. And I've been watching a lot of Taskmaster. So
is that why I just saw that in my history for KFR?
Yes, you did. The channel for Taskmaster has a bunch of clips, a few full episodes of the show Taskmaster. It's a British game show where comedians are given the most ridiculous tasks, and they have to do them either the fastest or in the most ridiculous way to get points. And it is so fucking hilarious. It is so smart and funny. There is an American version as well. They did 1 season. I hope they make more seasons, but I don't think they will. That's on Comedy Central. But yes, Taskmaster, the channel on YouTube, there's plenty of fun to go around on there. So I'm going to have to say that.
Okay, I think I'll have to look at it.
My Stick from Bad Lip Reading and the channel Taskmaster are our plugs for this week. That brings us to my pick for next week.
Oh, boy.
I will give you one guess if you can guess what studio this movie comes from.
My boy, is it from A24?
It is from A24. It is available on Amazon Prime, and it is The Florida Project. Written and directed by Sean Baker, starring Brooklyn Prince, Christopher Rivera, Aidan Malik, and Willem Dafoe. The Florida Project tells a story set over one summer. The film follows precious 6-year-old Mooney, as she courts mischief and adventure with her ragtag playmates and bonds with her rebellious but caring mother, all while living in the shadows of Walt Disney World. I saw this when it came out in 2017. If I'm honest, I don't remember much of it other than Willem Dafoe being great. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of why I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's available on Amazon Prime. The Florida Project, that's our movie for next week.
All right.
So, as always, you can follow us on Facebook, Keystone Film Review. Keystone Film Review on Facebook. On Instagram, we are Keystone_Film_Review. On Twitter, we are Keystone_Film. Yeah, that's it. And then on Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I'm Glen KFR.
And that will do it until we discuss the Florida Project next week.
See you next week, buddies.
Happy New Year, everybody.